All right, you should have the link, Rob.
Alcoholism is a disease that can affect any family. Everyone suffers, but there is help and hope in Al-Anon family groups.
I was constantly stressed and worried. Now I approach each day with joy and gratitude.
In Al-Anon, families and friends of alcoholics find new ways to heal from the effects of a loved one's drinking.
Al-Anon gave me my life back. I'm a better father and husband.
Are you in an overwhelming situation because of someone else's drinking? Gotcha. Your team can help.
107.1 is WTLZ Saturday with Steve Harvey in the morning and Cindy the best R&B all day.
Well, good evening, Saginaw. Welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen. I am your host for the next hour of conversation. I have with me in the studio my main man, the Rob. Father Rob, give a shout out to the people.
What's up, everybody?
Rob is over here with the sexy sandals and the short shorts. He got the man shorts on, y'all. They've been talking about. Rob, what's going on? I know this is your time of year.
It starts in March and every weather gets warm. So yeah, flip-flops and shorts are for me. Sandals, that slides as it is. Cause I'm like wear shoes a lot. So shorts,
he walking around here with caveman feet. I'm just joking, Rob. I'm just joking. I'm playing with you. So great to see you all. Jackie Wade Day, you are the first person in our social media stream. And as usual, we would love if you would like, tag, and share this so that other people can get involved. Today, we're going to talk about our Juneteenth Queen, the pageant, the coordinators. We had such an amazing, successful Juneteenth celebration over a 3-day period. But we got to
talk about the issues that are in hand. We've got to talk about what's going down in our community and the hot topic, which I have with me. Those of you who are watching in social media stream, you see the man, the myth, the legend, Jeffrey Bulls. Jeff, what's going on, my man?
Not too much. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Jeff is here for us to talk about something very specific to the Saginaw area, to what is happening, what is the heartbeat on the streets of our community. He is becoming. Now, y'all talk about community activists. I'm a community activist in terms of using what I have, but this dude is in the streets making it happen. And I'm so proud of what he is doing and who he is becoming. And I know everybody wants him to run for city council. But he wants to be the man that is making the change for the people. And I respect him and appreciate him. We don't always agree about everything, but we have agreed to disagree. But we don't find ourselves too often on the opposite sides of the table because our desire and our heart is really with the people. It may be more about implementation than what the real issue is. All right, so we want to talk really quickly. I got to talk about this first, and we'll get to that rezoning issue that we're going to talk about. So tell your friends and family to get into this community conversation. And it's not only about rezoning, but it is about what do we need to do and how do we empower ourselves as a community to get involved, to come to the table, to turn over a table if you need to have your voice heard, to come up with a vision and a plan for your community so that we can make impactful change. That's what my man does here, and that's what we're all about. But before we talk about that, we got to talk about this historic decision by the Supreme Court, Roe versus Wade. And I want you all to know that we're going to have a real conversation. One of the listeners reached out to me and they said, Pastor Bowen, I really want you to do a panel of women discussing, Roe v. Wade. And I think that is probably the most appropriate form instead of having three dudes up in here don't know what we're talking about, but we all have opinions. So Roe versus Wade is officially scrapped. We kind of felt that it was going to happen after the leaked opinion from the Supreme Court that there was a desire and appetite to do away with it. We always knew from the beginning of number 45's presidency that was one of the targets. What I loved about number 45, and I said this from day one, and Rob, you have been here to hear me complain and talk about this, is dude said what he was going to do, and he did it. So nobody should be surprised. Nobody should be shocked. This was a part of the plan, and there's more on that plan. So in a vote decision of 5-4, with Chief Justice John Roberts writing his own outside opinion against striking it down, Roe versus Wade is no longer a protected Supreme Court constitutional right. And it's crazy. And I want to just read this before we talk about this for just a hot second. One of the justices who actually leaked the opinion said that Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. That kind of language in the Supreme Court is kind of crazy. When you say it's egregiously wrong from the start, continues on to say that the draft opinion, which was signed by Justice Samuel Alito. In his opinion, the states, there is no constitutional right to abortion services and would allow individual states to more heavily regulate or outright ban the procedure. So what does this mean when we think about this, Jeff?
When I hear states' rights, if you are aware of history in any way, when us as Black people, when we hear states' rights, that's never been good for us.
It's never been good for us.
Never. But, to me, rather than, kind of cry about the decision, it's more of a call to action.
Absolutely.
It's a call to action. Like, I don't know what else they need to do for people to come together. And, we just got to come together and we got to organize. I mean, when you think about the opposition, they are organized. In order to fight that, you have to organize on the other side.
You got to be organized and mobilized.
Absolutely.
You got to organize and mobilize. Rob, what are your thoughts? Rob's sitting there like, don't even call me into this conversation, bro.
Yeah, this is my job.
You don't want to hear. Well, we don't want him to lose his job, so you just keep smiling over there, keep it bright.
I'm on the air. I have a whole lot to say, so I'll leave it alone.
Well, I want to say this,
but Jeff is right though. A call to action, because this is, if nothing else, it'll get people out to vote. Hopefully in November, and as the primaries continue throughout the country, and the general elections comes in November, call to action for certain things.
Well, I'll tell you this. What it does, if it doesn't do anything else, is that we vote when personalities are on our presidential tickets. We voted President Obama, no issue, we're coming out and vote. Kamala Harris. We find these little things which are not significant enough for me to come out and vote. So you said Auntie Kamala. I know that was your favorite candidate for vice president, for president first, and then became vice. You love Auntie Kamala. I'm just joking. That was a joke. Jeff does not love. But when we look at that, we look for these symbolic things to vote for, but we don't ever come up with a plan for who we are and how we're going to operate. What we're going to demand that everyone that is a part of the process is going to deliver to our community. Yes.
Well, for me now, and I think Jeff may agree with this too, and I think a lot of people may be the same way that we both are. You have to study the candidate. It's not a personality thing. You understand where they're coming from. If you know why you're not voting for the other person, then you know why you're voting for the other person, for the person you're going to vote for. It's easy to say, yeah, I'm going to vote for Kareem, but I need to know why I'm voting against Jeff. And if I know, as long as I have my ideas on why I'm voting against him and why, I can explain it to myself, understand when I go to that poll there, this is why I'm voting against Jeff and voting for Kareem.
But this is the thing. We vote against people. That's the problem in the Black community. We're always voting against. We're choosing the least dangerous of the two. Who is going to do us the least amount of threat instead of being proactive and voting for issues, voting for candidates who have our belief systems and our values at hand and are going to bring and deliver the things that we're talking about. So I want to say this because, Rob, you have been here with me for this ride. My biggest, my greatest criticism of this administration, it ain't got nothing to do with COVID. It don't have anything to do with ARPA money. My biggest criticism has been the fact that we have been ineffective in doing things as related to voting rights legislation. I've said this a million times, and this is the reason why. Because what happens when we don't deal with the issues that we have, they'll begin to make other issues of more importance, of greater importance. Since we have refused to take on the issues of voting rights, and even the Democratic Party, who is supposed to be, quote unquote, for us, has allowed this to float with nothing. Our top legislators, they're not saying anything.
Well, that's the problem. They never said anything, and that was my problem going in. We created a boogeyman in Trump, and was he somewhat bad? Yeah, but with that, we never demanded anything of Biden. we just said, hey, we're going to get Trump out, going to get Trump out, going to get Trump out. Well, there's the other side of that coin, and now we're living it. Because you didn't demand anything of Biden, but you gave him your vote. Really, I really can't cry about what they're not doing because we didn't demand nothing. We didn't demand anything of them anyway. So
a lot of people in our community voted for Biden because he was connected to President, our black president, President Obama.
And that's a continuation because we didn't demand anything of Obama either.
Absolutely. And so what my thing is, I want us to make sure that we begin to look at what's going on. So because this is the thing that scares me. I want to read the particulars because y'all Uncle Clarence Thomas, you get that confused sometimes. Justice Clarence Thomas, excuse me. You get those names. I just want to make sure I get it all right. Justice Clarence Thomas said this, and this is very scary and very dangerous, Rob. I'm going to tiptoe the line, okay? Please. All right. He urged the court to reconsider past rulings. Now, this is where I think that we're entering into dangerous territory, and this is where I would be remiss if I did not come as someone who loves my community and say this. We got to be careful here. He asked them to consider past rulings, protecting the right to contraceptive. That means that you can be married, you can be saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, as our community often is. You could be a young budding couple who is just now married, and you no longer have the right to determine what type of family, what size of a family, when you're ready to start a family. Because they want to do it, he wants us to consider the right to contraceptive, the legalization of gay marriage nationwide, and the invalidating laws banning gay sex. So he's now saying,
I don't know why he didn't mention Loving versus Virginia. Mixed marriage is racial. I find that very interesting that he left that out.
Come on, you know why it is. Uncle Clarence, and I got it right. Uncle Clarence didn't want to put it on there because that's something that
just a year ago, gay marriage was ruled constitutional by the Supreme Court today. A year ago today. So I need to point out the same, and then call it, it's not gay marriage. Let's just say it's same-sex marriage, okay? Because you don't necessarily have to be gay to be married, right? So today was that anniversary. I just find it interesting that he would mention that, during this ruling, and then leave out, interracial marriage.
Well, this is what's going to happen. Because they are just like our dear Candace Owens.
Yep.
For those of you who remember, there was a beautiful chocolate sister that had a lot of truth to her conversation. But they use her as a puppet for their agenda, and then they cancel her assignment when they didn't need her anymore. And so Clarence Thomas has been activated. I'm going to say it like that. He's been on the court. He's been on there doing what he does, and he has now been activated to go in because his face looks like, we used to have this thing called blackface that white folks used to do, where they would put on blackface and they would act like us to portray an image. So they're using him for a particular agenda. And there are going to be some things that he's going to attack that are things that our community are empowered by, but his belief system is not consistent with ours. So now I say that when we begin to look at what voting rights look like in America, he didn't say voting rights right now because it's a hot topic, so to speak. But you have to begin to think about your right to vote as Black folks, because what had taken place, and this is so very important for y'all to understand, the Civil Rights Act put in there some fail-safes that if the state government was going to make a law and that law impacted people racially or unjustly, that the federal government would have to come in and oversee, is there the opportunity to harm people unexpectedly, racially, economically, those kinds of things. And when we began, there was a civil rights reversion, a civil rights act that completely gutted out that piece where the federal government had the right to oversee certain changes. So now we see here the Supreme Court standing in agreement with the Republican agenda, saying that if it wasn't in the Constitution, it is not a constitutional right. That's what they're saying, Rob.
No, I'm not going to argue with that. As a matter of fact, 62 years, the first time I ever read about the Supreme Court being the most political court ever. It's supposed to be non-partial, but yeah, we have the most political court in my history.
Absolutely. Well, the biggest thing that we're not seeing either is the precedent that they're attacking it under.
Yes,
exactly.
And it's privacy, the right to privacy, which is gonna, have tentacles all over the place. whether it's interracial marriage, whether it's gay marriage, on down to the privacy of our emails. Privacy is in everything as it pertains to this particular attack, and it's just gonna start spreading. And you see, Justice Thomas and other justices, they're coming out publicly and saying exactly what they want to do.
Absolutely. There's never a secret. There's never a secret. Yeah.
As well. So it's time that we organize. I don't know what else to say besides it's time to organize. I think that we've kind of been asleep for a while. I think that we've thought about the inherent goodness of people, like, oh, they'll never do that. We're here. They're doing it.
That's what it was.
And I'll say this: I am not a pro-abortion person.
I believe in pro-life. However, I believe that people should have the right to do what they want to. Just as 52% of our country said that they should have control over what goes into their bodies with this vaccination and refuse to take it. I believe that at the end of the day, and this is biblical, because some of y'all gonna say, I thought you was a pastor. Let me tell you how I'm feeling really quick. Because when you look at how we do what Christ did, we live as he did, right? When you look at what he was, he told you the truth, he told you the way, he gave you the path, and he says you got options. You choose which one you want. Nobody wants anybody to serve them out of compulsion. You're forced to do it. So my thing is, I believe that every life has rights. Black lives matter. Black lives have value. Babies that are here. But I also believe that the young man that's in the street, that we're tearing down programs, that we're cutting funding that is helping him to live. When we talk about pro-life is not just in conception. Pro-life is not just before the baby gets here, but it means that you're willing to vote for programs that will help our Black and brown kids in communities where they need them, like community centers and things that we need in our community.
And being able to choose foster kids that are out of the system there, or adopt kids who need parents, and not restrict same-sex people who want to adopt kids. I mean, there's a lot of kids out there now. We're gonna have more kids, whatnot, and who don't have the care. And the party has already cut down a lot of the programs there, or in the schools. We'll have quality schools. So what are we doing here? Are we willing to take care of these kids, or are we willing to just let them go because now that we saved their lives?
Can I just say that they don't care about kids? I'll just say that. They care about fetuses. Yeah. I don't even think they care about fetuses. This is a power move. That's all it is. And I'll even say it even more plainly. This isn't even about this isn't even about Black people.
No, it's not at all.
Not even about
it's about power.
Yeah, it's about power. Because they really cared about our population growing. They wouldn't put this in place because all this is going to do is help our population grow.
And when you look at the abortions, and Rob, they're saying that they got a bad echo in the screen. We're working on that. Jeremiah Brown, I think that's what your name is. But what I want to say is that, it's not here, but it's in the stream. So when we look at this, what I want us to think about is the fact that this is about power. When we look at abortion, Black babies are the ones that are being aborted. And this is facts. Historically, you can look at it, that's who's being aborted. So we are impacted mostly by this ruling. This is a ruling that directly impacts our community. They think we should keep the babies that we can't pay for, or whatever the situation is. I think a lot of it comes to personal responsibility as well, but it's also an understanding of life and positions in life, which that's a whole nother show that we have to talk about. But I want us to make sure that we are well. Don't fall asleep at the wheel. Wake up, you sleeping giant. It's time for us to move forward. All right, so Jeff, let's talk about what I have you here for.
Let's get into a break first. Get that out the way.
All right, let's get into a break, and we'll come back with more Straight Talk. When we get back, we're going to talk about what our communities need to be doing. We're working right now with the Northside Neighborhood Association and its members to really put together a plan of action in terms of what needs to happen in our communities. We're going to talk about that when we come back.
With Kareem Bowen on Kiss 107.1.
Culver's could have only started in Wisconsin. Just ask our team member Marcus.
Let's just say you can take the restaurants out of America's Dairyland, but you can't take America's Dairyland out of the restaurants. Like the real Wisconsin cheese on our juicy butter burgers, the farm fresh dairy in our fresh frozen custard, even our crispy golden Wisconsin cheese curds. They may sound cheesy.
I'm not hearing the echo on my end
But we
and
love
on the
where
air.
we come
I
from
don't know
at
what's going on with
Culver's.
the screen.
Almost as much as
There's
we
nothing on
love
my board
sharing
that's
it with
causing
our
anything
guests.
because I'm trying to have
Welcome
me
to
caught up. So
Delicious.
that must
Another
be
reason
heard.
Culver's could have only started in Wisconsin. Let our team member Anna tell you why.
People always say Culver's food tastes homemade. But that's also because our menu is like basically homegrown. Cooked to order butterburgers and rich, creamy, fresh frozen custard, two of Wisconsin's favorite traditions. Same goes for our perfectly melty cheese curds and Culver's new Wisconsin Big Cheese Puff Burger. Available for a limited time. I mean, could it get more Wisconsin than all of that?
Stop in and let's make our traditions your tradition. Welcome to Delicious.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Rob, they said the echo is gone. I think it's probably whenever your volume is on over there.
If I would hear from my ear, it's not going on the air. I don't know if the computer is. The computer's potted down. Kareem, the computer's potted down. The computer's not on.
Oh.
Enjoy the go with
So it's coming through here. It's coming through.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere.
I'll
On
turn this
Odyssey.
down here, but
Odyssey
Oh,
is
but you know what, though?
For all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Is your phone on?
It's on, but my ringer is off.
Sometimes it picks it up. Just put it away from the table. Hello, this is Kareem Bowen. We're back with more of Straight Talk. I am here with Jeffrey Bulls, community man about town. Jeff is on the ARPA committee, that American Rescue Plan Act, those funds that are here. Those $52 million, who are now $26 million, are here to transform your community. And so he's been talking with communities, having think tank forums and things of that nature, making sure that we understand what is at stake. And Jeff and I have been working a lot with what's happening. The Potter's Church Ministries is on the north side of Saginaw. So we've been working with the residents of the North Side Association and the members of the community, First Ward Community Center and other entities, to really try to figure out what it is that we need. One thing that we know that, we talk about factories and industries and things moving in, and we don't want them. But what we need to understand as a community, whenever you build a community, there is something called a tax base that is necessary for every community to be viable. That means that when you think of your community, there's going to be a lot of people who may want in, depending on the spaces that you have available. The community we're talking about has access to rivers, which is always for factory and manufacturing something that they desire. But there's land space, there's open space, there is green space. We'll use that term lightly. And we have to understand that companies like gas stations and grocery stores, they feed off of population bases. They feed off of wheels that travel and eyeballs that see. And so sometimes there are things that you may not necessarily want in your community to start that jump start. But you got to keep in mind the big picture. Jeff, you're here today. What is it that we're doing? What's going on in the city of Saginaw? Let's the North Side Association and everybody else, let's give them an idea of what it is that needs to take place.
So the city of Saginaw, they had an idea, and this came from City Hall, that a stretch of the north end of Saginaw, I call it the North Washington Corridor, it's right on M13, basically from the railroad tracks, just across from Potter Street, all the way around, basically the First Ward. They wanted to rezone that area light industrial. And I just happened to come upon it when I was at a city council meeting myself. I go to them often. And, I saw it in the agenda and I didn't know about it. And I know that I'm involved. And if I'm involved and I don't know about it, I know the citizens didn't know about it. So, we kind of crafted a community meeting to get the community aware of what was going on. And that was the impetus of where we started.
And so it came because there was a desire to remove or to change the green zone labeling of that land from 2nd Street, which is now called Roosevelt Austin, all the way down to the back steps of First Ward Community Center, the 10th Street, from Washington Avenue to Farwell.
Yes.
All right, which the Potter's Church is right smack dab in that space. So it makes sense that we would really be involved. But this is bigger than just the north side. This is really talking about having a plan for your community, no matter what area or zone or ward you live in. We've got to begin to consider these things, because when we go to the city council meetings, there's a lot of business that's taking place that if you're not involved, you don't understand what's happening. Then stuff pops up, and then we're fighting against, the marijuana store that's been allowed to be on the corner, instead of being proactive in the process to begin with. All right, so where are we now in that process as it relates to the north side of Saginaw as we begin to work? I know there were some things, some call outs that we wanted to make happen. Why don't we take a minute to talk about those things?
Sure. We've had a couple community meetings, just getting the community involved because we want to be proactive. We actually stopped the vote that came up at city council for that rezoning. We were able to organize and stop it, and that's a great thing. We'll take that win. Now we're in a different phase. Now the community has to come in even more, and that's what we want to do, and that's what we wanted to talk about today. Is that we're having another meeting, another community meeting on the 7th, I believe. Next month on the 7th at 7 p.m. We want more of the community to come in, more of the business community to come in, all of our entrepreneurs to come in, all of our stakeholders basically to come in, because we want to take charge. I'll just say this myself. I feel like City Hall has kind of forgotten about the people. This rezoning happened because they didn't take into account what the people wanted. So we want to take the bull by the horn, so to speak, and create our own plan, come together, get the community back involved in decision making, so that we're not forgotten, that we're actually in the decision making process. So we want everybody to come into, I can't say everybody, because truthfully everybody's not going to come, but let's get as many of us in the process as possible, so that we can come up with our own plan for our own community. We can do this ourselves.
This is what I want to say. I think that we're paying people to put together plans for our community.
Yeah.
So we don't have to come up with our own plan. We just need to have access to the plan that's happening in our community. And so that means that we come up with our own ideas for things that need to be a part of that vital agenda. And we understand that the date that's coming up for us to make that type of submission is the 28th of July.
Yes.
So that means that we as a community have to begin to mobilize wherever you are. If you're in the city of Saginaw and you see some things that need to be a part of what happens and what is going forward with your community, July 28th is the date. That's the date that you need to meet to get any of your ideas, your thoughts, the constructs, or whatever, as a part of that plan. And I'll tell you, there are people, not everyone at the planning commission and all these other places, not all of them are against what we're saying, but they'll do what they think is best interest without taking you in mind if you sit in the corner and you say nothing. So we want to make sure that we are part of that plan. So the next meeting is July the 7th. And at 7 p.m., we're going to continue that meeting over on the north side of Saginaw at 1402 North 6th Avenue. That's the Potter's Touch Ministries. Everyone is welcome. So we need entrepreneurs. We need thinkers. We need people who can write. I'm going to tell you, if you're a grant writer, we could use grant writers, because a lot what we need is going to be in grant writing. If you have a history in politics, if you understand policy, we need people who are part of that process, so that when we step forward, we're stepping forward with a plan. We have schematics and drawings. We give them an overall view. We don't have to have all the nuts and bolts, as we were saying, but we want to give them an idea of the type of communities that we see. That date, July 28th, is tomorrow. You might as well think it's tomorrow, because it's right around the corner. Jeff, what parting words do you want to say before we move on to our next conversation?
I just want people to know that, somebody like me, I'm a regular person just like you. Like, this isn't a meeting for, professionals, or, because sometimes people think that they don't have anything to offer. We all have something to offer. This is your community. You pay taxes. You vote in this community. You are valuable in this conversation, and we want you in it. So, please come out on the 7th at 7 p.m. Add to the discussion. You live here. You work here. You have kids here that go to school here. You have an important role to play in this process. And that's what we want people to know. We want people to start understanding that community is just that. Community, all of us have a role to play.
don't think that because you're not on the city council or you're not the mayor or you're not a prominent pastor in this community or whatever, that you don't have a role to play in that. What you think and what you believe isn't important. It is. Come to the table with us. We'd love to have you.
And the only other thing that I'd like to really make clear is that you don't have to be from the north side of Saginaw for this. If you have ideas, if you have thoughts, we really need skilled individuals, some people who have credentials and some abilities to do things. If you know how to navigate systems, we need you as a part of this move forward. And in addition, if you know people who got money, because if one of the greatest things would be is if we could do like Jeffrey Canada did in New York, and he didn't just have a plan, but he went out and he found investors to begin to sow the seeds for that plan. And after you get certain things, everything in a community happens. I always use the term 18-hour living. So it's the grocery stores, it's the convenience stores, it's the gas stations, it is the restaurants. Do we have restaurants in that community? All of that is a part of the 18-hour living. And until you have those things present, you really don't have viable living spaces. We have been good at developing beautiful apartments. I'm not going to use the term affordable or unaffordable. We're not going to that conversation, but we're building residences. There's the hope of new residences coming in, the Huntington Bank. So there's a lot of building of houses and homes and apartments, but we have to begin to say that those things are only sustainable if we provide 18-hour living. And there's no reason why that corridor, the Washington corridor, as you said, cannot be the beginnings of the pieces of that 18-hour living. So we want you all to come. Whoever's interested, please get involved because what happens on the north side impacts all of us. And so we're in this together. So let's make this happen. Jeff, I want to thank you for your time today and coming in and talking about what's important. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move and transition. There are some beautiful young ladies that are with us today, some mature ladies and some smaller ladies that are going to come in. They're all queens in my eyes. And we're going to let them, if we can transition. My brother, I want you to be strong and keep doing what you're doing. But we're going to transition and we're going to bring in the coordinators for this. Yes, Miss Renee Morris and Miss Linda Burt Jackson. I called her Linda Burt, and her husband was like, did he know that you got a husband and your name is Jackson now? And so I had to call like, sorry, Miss Jackson. So we certainly thank them for being here. We're going to start with them, but we're going to talk to the queens as well as today. I want to say, welcome, queens. How are you doing?
Good.
I am doing well. I'm doing well. I've been doing a lot of talking. You can hear it in my voice. But what I want to say to you all, congratulations. This is so important to our community as we begin to really think about Black culture. One thing that has always happened, we understand white culture, but we have never had the opportunity to really be connected and to understand the importance of our history. Miss Renee, the historian, as we call her, she's over my kind of what is he about to ask me? I just want to say congratulations, kudos on showing our community what perseverance and hard work does. So I want to say that first. And then now, in reflection of everything that has happened for Juneteenth, what is it that you would like to say, and where's your heart, and how are you feeling?
I'd like to say thank you to everyone. Everything turned out better than what I thought it would, but everything was beautiful. Moving forward, getting ready for next year.
So there is no sleep for the weary, y'all.
No.
All right, so we're done. I just want to give them an idea of how successful this really was. You started off with a pageant, and you set the bar at what I think would be an attainable number. You said, hey, if we do 50 people in attendance for this pageant with the young women that we have available, we ended up with 7 queens that were participating, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what success looks like. And I love when we put those metrics in place. What was the outcome in terms of the attendance for that pageant?
It was over 200.
The room was packed, y'all. The room was packed. Yeah. I had come from Man Code down in Detroit, and I said, I'm gonna slide in. I was in jeans and a shirt, and not even dressed appropriate for the occasion, but y'all know how I do. I'm gonna show up anyways. And the room was absolutely packed, decorated to perfection. And I said, I can see Miss Carla Barton up in here. But the women, the stage, the presentation, the quality of the programs, just everything was phenomenal. So when you look at it, did it blow your mind when you said 200 individuals?
Yes, it did. We were very surprised and pleased, and thank God, that he done a great job for us.
Tell us some of the things that were integral in terms of making that pageant a success. There's a lot of pieces that go into that.
Oh, yeah. The marketing, the planning, the rehearsals, figuring out, the who, what, where, and all of that.
Okay, then on Saturday, we had, I love to call it a freedom stroll, but it was a freedom parade. And the station director over at WSGW, Dave Maurer, he came in, he said, Kareem, he goes, I saw the parade and I was super impressed. For that to be the first year that you guys have done that, he said it looked like every other parade that we do in our community. He says, and if that's the start, I can't imagine where you're going to go with that. So when we talk about the parade, I'm going to tell you, I was one of the people like, listen, woman, you're doing too much. You're like, Pastor, because I will be very calm. People don't realize I'm a very common person. And I'm going to tell you, you are doing too much. Miss Burt Jackson, Miss Jackson, excuse me, Mr. Jackson, is he listening? All right, Mr. Jackson, please I apologize and please accept my apology. Miss Jackson, you're riding shotgun to this. Did you ever at any point like, Renee, you're doing a little much?
Well, yes. I sort of like had to sit back and just tell her, okay, hold tight. We'll get where we need to go and everything. But it was a blessing working with her and us going along with her vision. Some of the things I went along with it and tried my best to help.
This is what I want to say, because a lot of people think that it was me doing this stuff. And I was on the radio with Rob and we're screaming, somebody needs to do something for Juneteenth. You connected with me via Messenger. And we had a conversation. And before I knew it, I was assigned to a task and a part of an organization I knew nothing of, but working. You have a great ability to empower people to work and to make things happen. And I think that that's very important. I want to say, with where you started this year, what is next? What do you envision moving forward?
Well, I want to incorporate young kings next
year. Okay.
Young men from age 7 to, I think, 14.
Okay.
As far as the parade, I'm still trying to figure out who I can bring as the Grand Master.
Okay.
So that it pulls,
Okay. All right. Because our Grand Marshal this year was Carlin Gill. When you know her history, you understand why she was selected. We have some pageant queens that are with us today. So who is with us here on today? I'm gonna let you introduce them and let me know exactly who they are and where they place, and then we'll bring them in. And I want to have some conversation. These women are absolutely phenomenal, intelligent, poised. I can see why they're queens. All right. So who do we have with us today?
We have our queen Zariah and our little queen Jordan. And the runner-up is Nevaeh.
So we have Zariah, which is the Juneteenth queen, and then we have our junior queen, which is Jordan. Jordan is Miss Congeniality. Y'all just wait. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. And then we have the
runner-up is Nevaeh.
And Nevaeh, the runner-up. Okay, I've met Jordan and Nevaeh in person, and I believe I know the other young lady. So we're gonna have, if we can bring them in at this moment, we're going to transition. I got Rob Robinson, like, Kareem, you are giving me the blues with all of this transitioning. But I thank you for your patience, Rob. We're going to bring in these little Miss Queens. We're going to allow them to introduce themselves. They are so congenial, bright smiles, super intelligent, and we're looking forward to having them. If we can get one more of those chairs in here for the young ladies. All right, so I have sitting with me right now. All right, let's bring her into camera so we can see her a little bit. And I think that we're going to be good. We're trying to position those who are listening on the radio. We're positioning these young ladies so that we have an idea of who they are. Now, ladies, the camera to your right is the one that's going to capture you. So as you speak, just, give a little wave and go. So we have the queen here, Miss Queen, Miss Juneteenth Queen. How does it feel? Introduce yourself. Let me allow you to do your own personal introduction.
Hi, my name is Raya Simon. I'm 12 years old. I go to White Pine Middle
I'm
School.
grown and now I got an extra year. Go ahead.
I go to White Pine Middle School, and my favorite color is pink.
Okay, awesome. And little miss?
Hi, my name is Jordan Lynn Thomas. I am 9 years old. I go to Stella Elementary School, and my favorite color is pink. Awesome.
Also a pinker. And Miss Nevera?
My name is Nevada. I go to North Samuel Academy. I'm 20 years old. My favorite color is blue.
And her favorite color is blue. So now that you are Miss Juneteenth, how does that feel?
It's a unexplainable feeling, actually. It feels great to me. Yeah. It's a lot of emotions.
What does it mean to you?
It means that I get to represent Black people in a different way than anybody else can.
Okay, because you are, in essence, you represent freedom. You represent a new day. You represent the promise of a new future. And being a young woman, I think those are powerful qualities for you to possess. What is it that you want to do with your time and your reign as pageant queen?
I want to join walks such as cancer walks, hunger walks, feed the children. I'm also in a program with SVSU, the educational program. I'm an ambassador. I want to be able just to help people in need because nobody should have to struggle with what they're going through in this time of day.
Absolutely well stated. I'm going to give you a pageant question. You ready? Each of you will get a pageant question. I want you to answer it. This has not been planned. This is just off the cuff. I know you may not have your pageant muscles in gear right now, but I want to just hear. Oh, would you say always Jordan Strong? This young lady, Jordan, we were out at the park because the next part after the parade was a Sunday church celebration, and we celebrated fathers. And I was helping the young ladies up the stage because that's what we do as men, right? And I said to Miss Jordan, she was standing there. I said, "Hey, are you nervous? Are you ready?" She said, "I was born ready." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I want to just ask you guys a question. I think this is a typical of what you guys have gone through. Many people need to understand that you guys were being trained. You were taught how to walk and how to speak, and you guys had talent. It was the whole thing. Kudos to those of you who work. And I know that Cassandra, you're out there. You are a key piece of what's going on. And your son and granddaughter are here in the space, and they're so proud of you as well. So, ladies, I'm going to start with you first, pageant queen. Okay. What is it that you hope to bring to your community as Queen Juneteenth?
What I hope to bring to my community is just a lot of food, really. That's really what I want to bring. I want to be able to help children with education because I know most children struggle with like math and reading is my specialty. I'm an honors ELA, so I want to help children read.
Wow, that's powerful. That is powerful. And I'll tell you that here in Michigan, we have one of the largest rates of illiteracy among Black people. So having a queen who believes in making the community literate is a powerful tool. I'm going to go over to our Miss Junior Juneteenth Queen, Miss Jordan. Miss Jordan, and I asked you the question before, my Black is, and you gave me an answer. But I want to ask you, what is your greatest superpower?
My greatest superpower is being nice to people.
Okay, being nice to people. And how is that a superpower?
It's because when people are down and sad, when I see them down and sad, I either tell a joke to them or make them feel better about their day. Or either give them some money to go get ice cream.
Ice cream always makes it better. I love it. I love it. You know what? My mom used to always tell me that you catch more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. So being nice and kind is a great way to be. Thank you so much, little Miss Jordan and Neve. Now, I learned a little secret about your name, Neve. You shared with me that your name is actually heaven backwards. All right. So let's talk about being backwards. When you look at our community today and your vision of what you see could be possible, what do you think that we're doing wrong? How are we doing it backwards? What do we need to correct?
Well, a lot of people, they discriminate other colored people just because of our past. I feel like now that we're in 2022, we should kind of come together and not like discriminate other people just because of their race.
So it is important, and I think that's a great answer. But I want to ask you all a question. Miss Juneteenth is a representation of Black freedom, right? Do you think that race is a major factor in how our communities and our government operate today, from the eyes of young people, and whoever would like to answer? Is race a big factor like it was in 1865 and 1863?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so what do we need to do from your perspectives? Neve, you told us that we have to be challenged to come together. What does that look like? How do we come together?
Well, we should do more like events in Saginaw where there will be a lot of people, events that we can just come together and talk about things.
Okay, and so the purpose for those events would be unification. Okay, how can we empower our Black community, little Black girls that look like you? I often use the term Black and brown girls, but everybody wasn't freed with the Emancipation Proclamation. Everybody wasn't free with Juneteenth. There was still some slavery that took place, but that is what we mark as our Day of Freedom. How do we begin to empower other young girls who look like yourselves?
We could empower young girls to look like us to fight for what they want to fight for, because I actually wanted to give up on the pageant, but I fought for it, and look where I am now. So if you give up on something and you don't fight for it, it's going to turn out not how you want it to turn out, basically.
What do you feel as a young Black queen you have the power to change? Neve.
Something we have the power to change is shyness. Because a lot of people are shy, like around other people, and with more access to other people, we would kind of step out of our bubble and get to know new people.
Is that important to you? Why is it important to get to know new people?
Because dealing with the same people, it can make you feel like that's the only people you can go to when you need help. Because sometimes, there's other people that want to be by your side and help you with things, but with a new perspective, you can get to learn new things.
I'm sorry, I'm smiling at you, and I don't mean to make you laugh because I am so impressed with your poise. You just said something that was so profound, that we have to have some new perspectives, and that when we put new people in that pool, they come up with new ideas, new thoughts, new ways of thinking, and it makes us better as a community. The thing that Juneteenth taught us was that it requires everybody to be free for us to really experience what real free is about. Okay, so Miss Pageant Queen, what is it that you think you have that other young girls can take and make a part of their tools? What are you inspiring them to do?
I inspire all young girls to fight, because I keep talking about fighting, I know, but if you don't fight for something, you won't have it, and I feel like that's really bad, because some people like to put people down, and it is not a good feeling. So I feel like I inspire girls to fight, and I inspire girls to learn about what they can learn about new things and experience new things by learning and hanging around with the right crowd and fighting for the right crowd and fighting for the right education.
So when we're talking about fighting, we're not talking about rolling up our sleeves, we gonna put up the dukes, right? That ain't what we talking about, right? Not a girl fight, not that, right? But we're talking about being passionate and fighting for what we believe in. Miss Jordan, what do you, and I need to let you all know, okay, I know you're talking to her and you probably think that she's 13, 14 years old, but Miss Jordan here, she's a new 9. She's not like an old 9. She's not 9 and a half, 9 3/4, about to be 10, but she just turned 9 years old. During the pageant, you were actually 8 years old. You were old 8 years old. Now you're a young 9. What are you willing to fight for?
What I'm willing to fight for is I want young girls to know about their history. It's because if they don't know their history, they won't, because in the future something might change, like what happened in the past, kind of like black history. And I want them to know their history is because if they don't know their history, they won't know what's going on and what happened to their ancestors.
So the ancestors are key. And I think in essence, what you're saying is such a profound statement, is that their history is so important, because when they know their history and the fight of their ancestors, then they won't make those same mistakes again. It's important. Things happened back then that we have to be aware of. We were talking about historic decisions that are taking place. You ladies are history. What does it feel like when you think about the fact this is the first time ever that the Miss Juneteenth pageant has taken place, and you all are queens that represent Juneteenth, Black freedom? That's powerful. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel really happy. It's because I never been in a pageant, and before I even started this, I never knew about Juneteenth. Like I was never taught it, I was never knew it. But now that I'm in it, I know everything about Juneteenth.
I love it. I hope people that are listening to this and you're hearing it on the radio, I hope you just had a moment of celebration. Pull over to the side of the road and celebrate what just was said. Those of you who are listening in the social media live stream, please like, tag, and share this. I need our community to hear what this young woman just said. These women are representing our community with such dignity and class. And I'm going to tell you, every moment that I spend with you all, I am encouraged about the future of our community. I'm encouraged about what our young people are doing. I had the opportunity to be a part of your press tour as you guys are going forward. But Miss Jordan, I just want to say that I'm so impressed with what you just said. As a 9-year-old, acknowledging the fact that this is not something that we're teaching in our community. She said she knew nothing about Juneteenth until she came to the doors of Miss Moore and Miss Jackson. And she says now she knows everything about Juneteenth. How has knowing about Juneteenth made a difference in your life?
Well, now I know more about history, and now I know that Black girls are really beautiful. And so are other race, but like I didn't know Black history could be such a thing. Like I already knew it was a really big thing, but I didn't know it was a really big thing. And I'm now so happy to learn about it.
I'm going to say this, and this is the commitment that I made. And Yvonne Daniels, our content director and manager of this station, she's listening. She says, thanks for representing Saginaw so well, ladies. And I want to make sure that you guys are aware that you guys had an opportunity to meet her when you were here last time. And she gave you guys VIP access to, what is it?
The VIP tent.
Yes, she had VIP access to the VIP tent out at the party on McCarty. So thank you so very much. But I want to say this, what you guys are doing is absolutely phenomenal. And I want you to hear me, Miss Pageant Queen. And I hope that, and I say this, I hope that you take this moment in history, because you are now a historical figure, all of you all, but you are the pageant queen. I hope you take this in stride and really think about how you have the ability to impact young girls. If there was one thing that you would say to young women who are out there, who are like your age, who are 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, maybe even 17, what is the one thing or the words that you would share to empower them?
So one thing I would say is go for it. Don't hold back. Just go for it. When you go for something, go full blast, because if you don't put your all in it, it's not going to come out the way you thought it was going to come out in the first place. So always just go for it. Don't hold back.
Nike said, just do it. Our Juneteenth pageant queen said, just go for it. Okay, this is so awesome. I wanted to say this, and before I got so enamored and caught up in what Miss Jordan said, my prayer and my hope is that those individuals who are listening, that this Juneteenth pageant queen, I've talked with Miss Morris and Miss Jackson, and they've made it very clear that this is not just about what happened 2 weeks ago. Is it 2 weeks ago already? When you guys got these crowns and you won these awards, but the journey starts here. What do you hope to take away from this experience? If you need to take a second to think, that's okay, and we'll let the queen speak. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Okay, queen, speak first.
One thing I take away from this is I can do it. I can do it. I was very shocked. If you guys seen any of the pictures, I was very shocked when they said my name for being queen. So I take that as I'm appreciative to the judges and my grandmother and everybody else. But I take away from this that me being the person I am, that I can do anything with the person I am. I don't have to be somebody different to do what I want to do.
Okay, awesome. There is nothing that you cannot do. Okay, you want to go ahead and speak now?
Yes. The one thing I would take away is from this pageant is I wouldn't say I don't want to take anything away, but the one thing I want to take away is one day I might be like Miss Renee and take over the pageant myself.
Oh, you got your eyes set on bigger territories. I'm going to tell you, Miss Jordan is a boss. Miss Renee, Miss Jackson, watch out, get prepared. Because why would it be important for you to take over? Why would you want to take over the pageant?
It's because so I can teach other girls like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to be themselves, and like if you want to like try hard, is because if you don't try hard and you just lay there like a sack of potatoes, you won't succeed at all.
You can't be a couch potato. You got to get up and try. So what I'm taking away from this, Miss Jordan, is that this pageant meant a lot to you. It taught you a lot.
Yes.
And it gave you some self-confidence.
Yes, it really did.
That is awesome. All right. So what do you hope to learn, Neve, from this experience as a queen for Juneteenth?
Well, something I took away was that I expressed myself more, because before we got on the stage, I was so scared. I was like going through what I wrote, and then I got in there and I just felt so relieved because I thought I was going to be so nervous on the stage and freeze up, but I didn't. And when I got off the stage, I was in tears because I was just so proud of myself.
This is so awesome. Ladies, I want to say thank you. Thank you. Okay, you're welcome. I'm going to have you back in here, Ms. Jordan. You got to co-host with me sometime. You might have a future in television. But I want to say to the coordinators of the pageant, Ms. Morris, Ms. Jackson, they do have a Facebook page out there for the Juneteenth celebrations. Go to that page, like it, tag it, share it, get in contact. We'll have them as they begin this entire push. Ladies, you have been absolutely amazing. And I want to say to our listeners, I continue to use the word queens for each of them because all of these women are beautiful and they are all queens and they all have a crown. We understand who our lead queen, and I want you to could you just stand up and come over here by me really quick? Because I just want to make sure that the people are seeing you and they understand who you are. Get in that picture right there. There's our pageant queen. I want you to see her. I want you to hear her roar. I want you to know that she is beautiful. She is Black. And I want to end once again with the same question. My Black is what, Jordan?
My Black is beautiful, proud, and successful.
All right. My Black is what? All right. My Black is
beautiful, successful, empowered.
Empowered. Ladies, I certainly thank you for this opportunity. I'm going to tell y'all first word community. Let's hear it. Let's celebrate. Yay! I want to tell you all, this has been really one of the highlights of my moment. We always talk about what our kids are not. But young ladies, you are queens. I want you to wear your crowns, your tiaras. I want you to square your shoulders, walk tall, walk proud, and be empowering as you are empowered through this process. For all of you that are listening to us out there, thank you for tuning in to Straight Talk. We will be back always with conversations that are important to us, giving it to you straight, no chaser, no filter. This is Kareem Bowen, and I'm signing off. God bless you all. Grace and peace.
You've been listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1. The views and opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen by the host, its guest, or